from this awkward angle. This is a read aloud from Active Parenting, the First 5 Years, a Parent's Guide. We are reading beginning at page 129, Preparing a 5-year-old for School. Or if you're doing preschool, this could, oh, we're upside down today. Well, that will be unique. A 3 or a 4-year-old for preschool. So we talked last read aloud about asking questions, encouraging learning, brain building activities, reading aloud, showing up. And today we're ready to talk about conversation, screen time limits. Talking to your child. It's not just reading aloud that is important, but also talking with your child. The more words your child hears throughout his daily life, the more connections she will make inside her brain. This will help her learn more words and how to put words together into sentences and ideas. This helps her do well in school when she's older. So instead of mishmash baby talk, it's okay to use some pet names and love talk, appropriate for children, but also use grown-up language. Not bad words, not, you know what I mean. Talk real or regular to your child. And they learn how to talk and understand, and their mental capacity grows. Talk to your child even when she's too young to understand or respond at all. With a baby, you can describe how you're feeding her, changing her diaper, or anything else you're doing with her or near her. When it's an older child, you can talk about things while you're out at the grocery store, or what you're seeing on your walk, or the general plans for the day. Once your child begins to speak, you will have many more options for talking and communicating with her. You can respond to what she says and ask her questions, waiting for her response. The way you interact with her will either encourage or discourage her from sharing with you. So be an encouraging adult. Here are some tips to help you make the most of conversation with your child. Listen with your eyes as well as your ears. Look at your child while she is communicating. Show that you're paying attention. Smile, give little nods, and laugh. Encourage her to keep talking by saying things like, "That's interesting. Well, I never thought of it that way." And, "I see." Show that you get what she's saying by repeating it back to her in your own words. You might be wrong and then she'll correct you and you'll learn. Ask a few follow-up questions. Sometimes you can follow a child's lead in conversation. Let her talk and see where it goes. Other times you lead the conversation and see if she follows with you. Always be positive and show interest in what your child says. That is being encouraging. A small little tip. 4-year-olds sometimes go through a season of talking endlessly. So you do have to get your daily activities accomplished. But if you are making an intentional point to listen most of the time, a 4-year-old will understand when you cannot give her your full attention. All right, smart thing number 4, limiting screen time on page 130. Filter in the positive and filter out the negative. Use filters. Ever since the invention of television, parents have been wondering what to do about it. Churches have split over it. Is it good for children? or bad for children to have TV or video games or internet in their lives? The answer is it depends what a child is watching and how much of it they watch. The same can be said for all of the screens available to children today, like computers, smartphones, tablets, and other devices. So it's important you, as a parent or an adult, limit the screen time a child has and do monitor what your child is watching and playing. I formerly thought that violence was the only concern with screens. More recently, I've been introduced to the idea that watching, instead of being actively involved in activities, physical actions, changes the pathways and the synapses in the brain. So that's a concern. I really don't want a child with an unnaturally altered brain. The other thing about violence that I more fully am learning about is that there's a connection between paddling 5 to 10-year-olds, and the brain records that as violence. And there is an increase in sexual perversions, even, this is surprising perhaps, sexual stimulation and disconnecting love from the parent, disconnecting the ability to receive and feel love from God. It records it as harm. So I invite you to consider positive, non-violent discipline choices with your little children, with all your children, big or little. Screens, our active parenting book says, can become habit forming. Why is too much screen time a problem if your child's watching healthy, high quality programming? Well, it can be very easy for a child or an adult to fall in love with their screens and have a hard time looking away and being involved in real life activities around them. But too much time spent watching and playing on screens means too little time is left for more important things like physical exercise, social activities, interacting with others, sleeping, creative playing, and smart playing opportunities. So be careful not to allow your child's screens to become fake babysitters. Watch that your own screen habits don't keep you from spending quality, interactive time playing with and caring for your child. How much screen time should a child get? The American Academy of Pediatrics has some useful guidelines here. For a child under 18 months old, no screen time other than video chatting with family members who live far away. Or if they live close and you want to call one day and video chat. Once they're 18 months up to 24 months old, you might avoid letting children use media all alone. Choose only high-quality programming and apps. And watch with or play next to your child. This is how toddlers learn the best, interacting with you. For a 2-year-old and up, allow no more than 1 hour of high-quality programming each day. That's not much. 2 years old and older, no more than 1 hour in 24 of high-quality programming. Watch and play with your child as often as possible when they are on a screen. Find other activities for them to do that are healthy for the body and the mind, such as reading aloud together, conversation, talking, playing outside, and meeting friends. Always know what your kid is watching. Make sure it is age appropriate and not too violent. I recently heard a story about a parent who was allowing their 9-year-old to play video games at the neighbors. The unfortunate problem was the parent had never met the neighbor, and their standards were different on what was appropriate for a child. So her little 9-year-old was being exposed to shooting and other harmful violence on the game he was playing. Here's a note from active parents. Media and technology changes very quickly. Sometimes their guidelines change too. So it's a good idea to check in every once in a while and make sure you're up to date on what the codes are. Go to the American Academy of Pediatrics website at www.healthychildren.org for the latest information about screen time for little ones. Be in control of what your child has access to, what they're watching and playing. There is a lot of good programming out there for kids to watch and play. Some of it can even help them prepare for school by teaching them the letters and numbers. Or it can help you teach good values like taking turns, honesty, and being a good friend. Make sure you pick movies, TV shows, games, and any other programming that is good for kids. And keep your child away from content that is too violent, too sexual, or teaches them negative values. To do so, you need to watch a lot of what your child is actively watching. Children are easily upset by violence. Even if they seem okay, they may have nightmares after something they see. Be careful not to take a young child to a movie theater meant for older kids and adults. Learn what the ratings are, learn what they stand for, and learn to be choosy about what you're being exposed to. Even if you think the baby is too young to understand what is on the screen, they understand more than they can express. Wait until you've put your child to bed to watch TV shows with violence or sexual content. Maybe consider not watching them yourself also. Just a thought. Use rating guides to help you choose the most wisely. You might not allow your child to watch PG, parental guidance, rated movies at all until she's older. But if you do, remember what PG means, parental guidance. Do not let your child watch a PG movie alone. That's why the rating is there. It's meant to have you next to them. Watch the movie with him. Talk with him about the mature content and about anything that seems to upset or confuse him. Give him the opportunity to ask questions if he wants to. For an example, you can say, turn it off and say, the violence in this movie is not real. It's not really happening. It's make-believe. The horse did not really get hurt. I had a friend who did that with the child's movie Bambi. Apparently in Bambi, the baby deer is hunted, and that concerned the adult. So he turned it off and talked with his preschoolers about it not being real. I was surprised that a child's movie would have that in it, but I didn't grow up with any TV access or any movies whatsoever, so I don't really know as much as y'all do who were raised around it. Do not let your child use the internet alone in his room. You want to see and be able to watch what he is doing online. If he's watching something inappropriate, stay calm and help to redirect him to a better choice, a better option. Preparing children for school, page 132. Smart tip number 5. Teach a child social skills. Surviving and thriving in our world requires a lot of different skills. Some of our most important skills are the ones that help us get along with others, like social skills. These skills are especially important at school, where children of all different temperaments are required to get along together. Kids who start school with some basic social skills have a head start on others. Some of the most helpful social skills, for school are getting along with other children, taking turns, staying in line, following directions, saying goodbye to parents, following routines, sticking with difficult tasks, and considering another person's feelings. Also, having positive ways to express their personal feelings rather than hitting, biting, screaming, or any other negative behaviors. Begin by teaching your child these skills before she begins school. They will help her get along better with others and to do better with school rules and routines. You can use some of the methods you're learning in this book to teach them. State the rule in positive terms. Do this, not that. Make rules for your child to follow. Here is an example. We take turns when riding our bicycle. Make a when this happens, then that will happen rule. Here is an example. When you put the blocks away, we can read a story. My mother has 29 grandchildren, and she promotes cheerfulness when they have to leave her house. She used to give Smarties if the parents agreed, but many of the parents don't want the children to have sweets. So she used to wave bye-bye. If the child was cheerful and didn't pout, Grammy would give them a Smartie to go home without crying. But she's had to find a non-sweet treat now if she wants to do that. I think it's beautiful to watch their little bye-bye routine. Give choices and consequences. Here's one example. Either stay next to me while we're out shopping, or you can ride in the cart. You can decide. Use the ACT method. Accept their feelings, communicate what you expect, and target a better choice. As an example, say, I know you like to paint, but our floor is not for painting on. Let's clean up this mess and we'll paint on some paper. Encourage your child. Here are a few examples. I know you can do this. You're really good at that. Wow, I like how you stick with it even though it's hard. Emotional intelligence. Social skills are different from academic skills, meaning the alphabet or how to count to 20. But social skills are just as important. Social skills have a lot to do with how we handle our emotions and cheer up or calm down another person. Use emotions in positive ways. This is emotional intelligence. It's being able to identify your own emotions and others' emotions, managing emotions, and using positive emotions. So a child's emotional intelligence is about how well she understands feelings and emotions, not only her own, but also other people's. As your child learns more and more social skills, she will get better at telling you just how she is feeling. She will learn to tell how other people are feeling. She will get smarter about how feelings work. And you can tell her how you're feeling too to help her learn emotional words. Just be careful not to make it her fault. She is not responsible for how you feel. You are the adult and she is the child. But you're allowed to say you're tired, you're going to nap, and communicate with her. Help her learn to know what disappointment looks like, etc. Babies start out without any of the 3 skills we mentioned. But as they grow, they pick them up from the people around them who spend time with them. That's why it's so important for parents to teach a young child social skills intentionally and encourage them to learn about feelings. So let's look at the 3 skills that make up a child's emotional intelligence and see how you can help your child learn emotional intelligence. 1. Identify your own emotions and those of folks around. We begin doing this when we try to guess what it is our child is feeling by watching their face, facial expressions, tone of voice, crying, and other clues. Body language. The next step is to name that feeling. For example, say, "You look sad." "You sure seem excited right now." "Ooh, that must have hurt." Noticing how your child feels and naming the feeling will help her learn about her own feelings. Plus, when you say it with caring and compassion, your child learns that she's cared for and loved. This gives her more confidence to trust her own feelings and to trust you to tell her her feelings. It sets the stage for good communication between the 2 of you, and it teaches your child how to show caring toward others. This is what is called empathy, and it is at the heart of emotional intelligence. You can expand on this in other ways to teach your child more and more about emotions. For example, you can name your own feelings. "I am so happy to be here with you." When you ignore what I'm saying, "I feel annoyed." And you can help your child guess what others are feeling. "She must have been very angry about that." "Do you think that man is sad?" Watch the video and practice identifying and responding to feelings presented in the video. This is a worksheet on page 135. I don't think I'll go over it out loud, or maybe I should. In the example number 1, Caleb said, "I want to go now." What is a word that describes what Caleb might be feeling? We mentioned in conversation in class one time, urgency, impatient, overstimulated, tired. Make a sentence using the word you chose to show empathy for Caleb. "I see that you're tired and ready to go." Example number 2, Emily states, "We went to the zoo and I got to pet all the animals." What is one word that describes what Emily might be feeling here? In class, we mentioned anticipation, excitement, enthusiasm. Use the word in a sentence to show empathy for Emily. "That sounds like so much fun." Example number 3, baby Riley is crying in distress. What is one word that describes how Riley might be feeling? She might be in pain, she might be hungry, she might be wet or feeling lonely. Use a word in a sentence to show empathy for him. Oh, it's a him, Riley. Oh, Riley, your diaper needs changed. You're not comfortable, are you? All right, page 136. Managing your own emotions and cheering up or calming down another person. The second skill of emotional intelligence is the ability to manage our emotions. Often, the first way a child learns to do this is by calming himself when he's upset. You can help your child learn to do this. But remember that to be a good teacher, you first need to calm yourself down. Another thing about emotions I want to point out here, it is my personal belief that emotions are what make human beings like God. God has emotions. So we want to not squelch emotions, but help guide them into better ways of expressing ourselves. All right. The next title is Helping to Soothe.